Hello everyone, and welcome to this video on how to build a flanker task in Gorilla. But before we get started, I'm just going to jump in and give you a quick overview of what is a flanker task. So in a flanker task, we're interested in seeing how well a person can respond to a central target while suppressing the effects of surrounding irrelevant stimuli. The flanker task was created by Barbara and Charles Eriksen in 1974 whilst trying to answer a fundamental question of how do our brains process distractions. They showed that visual information leaks into our motor system before we've even finished processing it. The flanker task remains a cornerstone tool in cognitive science, allowing us to map how brain development, aging, neurodiversity like ADHD affects our everyday executive control. Since the flanker task was created, researchers have expanded the types of stimuli that we use in a flanker task. So you may find examples that include things like letters, arrows, or the less than and greater than symbols that we're going to be using in Gorilla, or colours. During the flanker task, there are three different types of trials. The first are congruent. This is when the target stimuli and the distractors are the same. So for arrows, they're all facing the same direction. The second are incongruent trials, and this is where the central target goes in the opposite direction to the distractors. So if all your other arrows are pointing right, your central target is pointing left. And then finally, there may be some neutral trials where the distractors don't provide any relevant information so that they can only focus on the central target. We're interested in recording how fast a person responds to the central target, so their reaction time, usually measured in milliseconds, but also how accurate they were in their response. Okay, this all seems a bit abstract right now, but hopefully this will make sense once we start building the task. Create a new project and call it something sensible like Flanker Experiment. I add my name so it's easier for collaborators to find it if they need to. Create a new task, call that Flanker Task. Add a second screen and change the display name to Trial. Change screen 1's name to Fixation and change screen 2's name to Stimuli. Click on the Fixation screen, click the blank screen template, click New Object, find the Fixation prefab in the search box. Click Add, check the settings, click the blank screen template, click on Add Object and select the text object. Change the text size to 76, change the size X value to 10, bind the text source to a new column called Stimuli, change the object name to Stimuli, click on Add Object, search for keyboard response. I'm happy with this object name, so I'm not going to change it. Add two keys. First of which is the F key, second of which is the J key. Then I'm going to set the response to left for F and right for J. Click on the Screen tab, add a component, search for the scorer, click Choose, then bind the correct answer option to a new column called Target. Jump to the Spreadsheet screen. Add three new rows, type trial in each row. In the stimuli column, add less than or greater than symbols to build your stimuli. In each row of the target column, write the direction of the central arrow, either left or right. Create another new column and call it Condition, and write in each row congruent or incongruent depending on the direction of the distracting stimuli. So if all the arrows are going in the same direction, that would be congruent, and if the central arrow is going in the opposite direction to the distractors, that would be incongruent. Add a final column called Random, click on Add Randomization, click on Add Component and select Randomize Trials from the list. Set the column drop-down box to Random, and in each row in the random column add the value 1. Next, click on Download Spreadsheet and open the download in Excel. Highlight the 4 trial rows and copy them below until you have all the trials you need, in this instance 24. Don't forget to save your spreadsheet and close Excel. Back on Gorilla, upload your edited spreadsheet. And now you've got all your trials in Gorilla. All that's left to do for this part is to preview the task. This has been speeded up just for brevity. You can close the preview by clicking on the hamburger button at the bottom and click on Back to Editor. Okay, if we go back to the intro where I was discussing the flanker task, I showed a math formula on the screen which was called the flanker effect. And this is one of the key things that you are probably going to be interested in when you're using the flanker task. In order to calculate the flanker effect, we need to calculate the correct mean congruent and correct mean incongruent reaction times per participant. And it would be really useful if we could get Gorilla to do this automatically. Fortunately, we can do this by using a tool called the Save Reaction Time component. And we can find this in the screen menu when we're looking at our Stimuli screen. So I'm going to show you now how to set this up. And the reason why we're going to do it is that it's going to save you a huge amount of time when it comes to data processing and your data analysis, because the values of interest have already been calculated. So next up, how to do this. Back in the flanker task, click on the Stimuli screen. Click on the Screen tab, click Add Component, and select Save Reaction Time. Add a destination. Set the criteria to Response Accuracy. Set Accuracy to Correct. Toggle Filter. Bind the field object to the spreadsheet column condition. Set condition to is equal to, and set value to congruent. Choose average mean for attribute. Under field, click the Set button. Create a new store called Congruent Mean RT. Click Bind. Click the Add button. Set criteria to response accuracy. Set accuracy to correct. Toggle the filter option. Bind field to condition. Set condition to is equal to, this time set value to incongruent, select average mean for attribute, under field, create a new store called Incongruent Mean RT, create, check what we've entered in our values, matches what's in the condition column in the spreadsheet, and we're done. So we might also be interested in finding out how accurate our participants are across all their trials. And so using a very similar method, but this time using the Save Accuracy component, we can calculate the accuracy percentage for each participant automatically. I'll show you how to do that now. Back on our flanker task Stimuli screen, make sure you're on the Screen tab, scroll to the bottom, add a new component, find Save Accuracy. Click Add, set criteria to response accuracy, set accuracy to correct, toggle filter, bind the field to condition, set the condition to is equal to, set the value to congruent, set attribute to percentage, click Set under field, create a new store called Congruent Accuracy, click on Add again, set criteria to response accuracy, set accuracy to correct, toggle filter, bind the field to condition, set condition to is equal to, set value to incongruent, set attribute to percentage, click Set under field, create a new store called Accuracy Incongruent. Once you've created your Save Reaction Time and Save Accuracy stores, it's a good idea to preview your task to check that it's working as you expect. During the preview, you should really interact with the task in the same way that you expect the participant to interact with it, and then at the end, download the data file. This means that you can check not only is the task working as you expect, but is the data looking the way that you expect it to. To start with, click Preview and then Start. Now you should take part in the task as if you were a participant, using the F and J keys to indicate the direction of the central target. Once you've completed the task, click the red Download button. Then open the downloaded CSV file in Excel. At this point, you may get a warning from Excel asking you to convert or not convert your data. Click don't convert. Converting your data will turn large numbers into scientific notation, which may cause issues when it comes to analysis when you import your data into your statistical software, because it can't recognize those values. So it's always a good idea not to convert your raw data. At this point, it's common for people to start to feel a little overwhelmed. There is a lot of information in a Gorilla file, but most of it isn't needed for what we need to do right now, which is checking that our task has collected the correct data, but also that our stores are calculating them properly. So what I tend to do is just remove the columns that I don't need. Select columns A to L and delete. Now select columns B to W and delete. Now remove columns D to J. Now remove columns E to L. And finally remove column H. Select row 2 and delete. Next, I usually put the data in a table object, so click on a cell in the first row and either use the shortcut Ctrl+T to put the data in a table, or click on Insert, click on Table, click OK. Now filter column B, Response Type, to Response. This will filter the data to show only the participants' responses. Now filter column G, Spreadsheet Condition, to Congruent. Now compare the last row of the Congruent accuracy store with the correct column. Because there is a value of 1 in each row of the correct column, this means I made no mistakes during the preview, so having a score of 100 in the Congruent accuracy store appears correct. Now change the condition filter from Congruent to Incongruent. Now compare the accuracy incongruent store with column D, the correct column, and we can see I made one mistake on the incongruent stimuli at the beginning. As we have 12 trials of incongruent stimuli, this roughly equates to 8% of our score per trial. So looking at the last row of the accuracy incongruent store, we can see it's recording 92 as a score. So this suggests it's working correctly. So one thing we need to do now, after we've created a working Flanker task, is to add some participants' instructions so they actually know what they're doing during that task. So to do that, we need to create a new display in our task, add our instruction text that we've had ethically approved, and then make sure that we add the instructions to the start of the spreadsheet. Back in our Flanker task on the display screen, add a new display, call it Instructions. Change screen 1's name to part_instructions. Click on Edit Screen. Select the instruction screen template. Because I think it looks ugly, I've changed the text align to center. Copy and paste in your ethically approved instructions. Note that in the last line of the instructions, we tell the participant to press the continue button when you are ready, yet the button is actually called Next. So you can change the text on the button by clicking on the button, change the label to continue. When designing studies, how participants interact with your equipment or software matters. In our Flanker task, participants respond to stimuli by pressing keys, but if you ask them to click a button in the instructions, their hand leaves the keyboard. This creates a delay when they need to respond. The solution: use a key response to advance from instructions to the task instead. This keeps participants ready and improves both their experience and data quality. First, delete the Continue button. Click Add Object. Search for keyboard response. Add a new key. Select spacebar. Set response to continue. Change the instruction text to something suitable. Style it if you wish. Go to the task spreadsheet, add a new row at the top. In display, type instructions. Make sure you match the text correctly to how you've named the display, including capitalization. The cell will go green if Gorilla can find the display. Click Preview to test. And we're done. Okay, and that's basically how you build a flanker task from start to finish, including some advanced things like the automatic average reaction time scoring and also the percentage accuracy scoring, which will all help you in data analysis later down the line. It will be a lot more straightforward. This video has been a bit of an experiment for me. I'm learning how to use things like Premiere, so I've been trying new stuff out. I also try to do voiceovers for the first time. So if you thought that was better, please let me know. But alternatively, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments as well. And I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.